The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Earlene Whitfield Alexander. I am one of the managers in the Youth Services Division. So welcome to our Project Innovation webinar. We are happy to have you, and we are excited about what RFPs you will be submitting to this project. So just a few housekeeping rules before we go on. Feel free at any time to type in any questions. There is a Q&A section of our presentation this morning, and you can feel free to type your questions in, and when we get to that section, we will answer your questions accordingly. So, many of you may or may not know, we have a new commissioner of our department. She began with us, I believe, in 2015, August of 2015, and since her time here, we have made some changes to how we look. I believe she has sent out some information to you regarding our strategic plan and where our department is going. And so with that, I'd like to share with you our new mission. So the Department of Family and Sports Services, the mission is working with community partners. We connect Chicago residents and families to resources that build stability, support their well-being, and empower them to thrive. And I think it's good to focus on that because that's why all of you are here, so that you can work with the residents in Chicago with needed services, a variety of needed services. Youth services, our portfolio has changed this year. We now have 3 distinct categories. We always did have them, but they have been renamed, and some of our program models have changed. So the enrichment activities folder portfolio, we have youth employment, and we have prevention and intervention services. Project Innovation falls into enrichment activities. And our goal is to make sure that youth have the ability to access high quality out-of-school time programs and enrichment activities to build key skills that are necessary for them to succeed. So we, last year in 2016, served approximately 18,799 youth between the ages of 6 to 24. There are 3 program models in enrichment activities. They are out of school time, CHA, and Project Innovation. We have 4 types of programming. You can operate a program year-round, school year, summer and school breaks. School breaks, of course, would be April or March during spring break, and in December during the holiday break. Summer and weekends. So it's not a programming schedule, but many of our programs do operate on Saturdays. So Project Innovation. The purpose of this RFP is we're looking for the most innovative out-of-school programming ideas for STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. Additionally, for us, it's a way for the city to continue to support smaller organizations to become successful that are maybe just coming along, have some great ideas, need some funding to get started, and we want to support programs those kind of programs that may not necessarily be funded. And we're truly looking for those programs to serve youth in the identified underserved communities that's listed in the RFP itself. So, design competition goals. Again, highly innovative and exceptional STEAM programming. We want you to be able to increase the youth awareness of STEAM and build their skills if they're interested in this field of study. We definitely want to see youth voice in the policy of the program, the design, and how the program will ultimately be implemented. This is a very highly competitive RFP. We are seeking to fund 10 organizations at $50,000 each. We currently serve 10 organizations at $50,000. We are looking to increase our portfolio by bringing on an additional 10. And let me say, 2 years ago, we received somewhere around 100 or 110 proposals, and out of that, we only selected 10. So as you can see, this is a very highly competitive RFP. The submission guidance, so we're looking for you to serve a minimum of 33 youth in 3 age categories, 11 to 13, 14 to 15, and 16 to 24. Program must provide year-round or school year programming, and it can include summer, weekend, and holidays. If you are funded, we will sit down with you and we will discuss what type of programming you are interested in doing as we work through your scope of services. The expectation is that you'll have clear, measurable benchmarks, and that those benchmarks have a guide to programmatic success, and that you are able to monitor your outcomes, and so you can determine if it's working, if it's not working, and what you need to do to make it work. We're looking for qualified staff who have experience working with youth in after-school settings. We're giving special consideration for organizations who are seeking to serve in the underserved communities listed. And, you know, to be quite honest, so we do have agencies who are in one service area but serve youth in another service area. So if the question comes up, can my agency be housed in one service area, but I have youth that are either coming to me from this particular service area, or I'm serving youth in another service area that's listed? The answer is yes. You can provide a stipend for the program participation. Sometimes stipend definitely is an incentive for your enrollment as well as your retention. And we expect you to provide youth with an abundant amount of STEAM and arts experiences. So here's an example of what youth stipends can be if you're interested, and believe me, it is only an example. If you choose, you could pay a youth $50 a week or every other week, or perhaps you just want to pay youth during the summer, or maybe 8 weeks or 9 weeks, and you pay them $35 a week. It's strictly up to you if you want to offer a stipend and how you actually would work it out. And remember that stipends, there are no payroll taxes associated with providing youth stipends. So here we get to the budget application process. So the youth reimbursement rate is $1,500 per youth. So you'll be serving a minimum of 33 youth at $1,500 per youth. We expect you to demonstrate fiscal soundness. You have up to a 15% administrative cap, and we expect to see a 15% in-kind or cash match. All payments with the city are on a reimbursement system, So you provide services, you submit a voucher documenting what services you provided with the correct documentation, whether it's your payroll, checks, receipts, and then we reimburse you for your voucher that you submit. We expect you to be able to sustain the program for at least 2 months prior to the total execution of your contract. And this term is from May 1, 2017 until December 31, 2018. So our selection criteria will be in 4 categories. Whatever your previous experience is and the needs of the population that you're serving. We will score you on your program design and its administration, administrative fiscal capacity, and of course, how sound your budget is. So there is a link to the cyber grants system. It is strictly online. This link is on your is in the RFP, so you can access that. Of course, it's web-based, and being web-based, it means that you can actually create your RFP at any location. And so there's a login page. You have to put in your email address, create a password. There is technical support, and there's a detailed need help section in case it's the weekend and you run into need some support. You can always email the need help section, and someone will respond to you within like 24 hours. And then we provide support as well. I want you to give me a minute. I'm going to take you through that cyber grant system so you can see what it looks like. So you will click on that link, and then that link will actually bring you to a login page. So if you haven't gone already, you'll submit your email address, you'll create a password. If you are a first-time user, there's a spot there at the very top where you can create, it says first-time user, you can create your password. Some of you are already cyber grant savvy, and you've already submitted proposals, and so you already have a password and an email address, so you'll just use this particular box.
Cyber grants operates the best in Chrome. Don't use it in Explorer, it crashes.
So that was Julia. She said cyber grants functions best in Chrome, and it has a tendency to crash when you're in Internet Explorer.
It does okay with Foxfire as well. It's mostly, I think, Explorer that it might give you trouble. Now, I've used cyber grants both in Chrome and Explorer, and haven't had too much of a trouble. I think it's a little slower in Explorer, but the cyber grants company recommends not Explorer for the browser.
Victor, can you go to cyber grants main? Let's see. So let's just pick the top person, the top agency. I just want to go through to show what the pages will look like. So if you see, as we go down, you'll have to fill in all of your information, right? And there'll be just general questions that they'll ask you, right? Go down to qualification information. Click there. So all your information should be in here. Make sure your information is accurate. Keep going. So you have to fill out all this information, all the history information, who's the person that you should contact, And there's a section in there for you to actually write your RFP. Let's go back to the main, Victor. And I have Victor Santiago in here with me, the webinar guru. Go to grant request amount. Yeah. So this is, you'll see when you go in, this is the section where you can begin to respond to the questions on the RFP. Your organization mission is in there. There's an overview, different things they ask you to upload, your agency capacity. Go down for me just keep going, just scroll down for me. Not there. Don't go there, just go down, scroll down a little. Right, fiscal management. So the questions are related to project innovation, and there'll be sections for you to begin to fill out.
What the screen is going to look like for you is going to be blank. You're going to fill this stuff out. It will say how many characters you're allowed to have in each, of text you're allowed to have in each box, how many are going to be remaining. All the questions are going to roll up to the 4 evaluation criteria that are outlined in the RFP, so that's how we do our evaluation. When you upload your file, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. But that's what this is what the screen is going to look like for you. It looks a little bit different, I guess. It looks a tiny bit different because this is what we use when we're looking to do our evaluations and to review your application. It will look a little bit different, but you kind of get the gist of what it is.
Okay, so just some important dates for you to remember. Of course, it was released on March 1st. You're with us here. It's March 8th. Your proposal is due on March 30th at 12 p.m. noon Central Standard Time. If you submit your proposal at 12:01, 12:02, there is a very strong possibility that you will be locked out and your proposal will not be included. It will not be read, it will not be scored, it will not be evaluated because it will not be considered. So I am stressing the importance of taking your time and beginning to write your proposal now. Suggestions like create it in Word, make sure that it's exactly the way you want it, let other people see it, let other people chime in. If you have questions about your RFP as you begin to write and compose your RFP and compile your information, if you need to reach out to me or reach out to Julia with any questions, please do that sooner than later. Fortunately, March 30th is during a weekday, so it's just important that you submit. We cannot do anything if you submit your proposal late and it does not get in the system.
That is true. The only way to allow for a late submission, we would have to re-release the RFP, which would only happen if you were the only submission. Additionally, I would say to people that we can see when you logged in last. Every time we have an RFP, there are a few people that miss the deadline, and then they call and are like, oh, we get a variety of excuses or reasons as to what happened, But a lot of times when we go in, we can kind of see the real story about. I've been told that the system didn't accept, and then you look at it and they hadn't touched the application for 2 weeks prior to submission, or they were kicked out of the system, and we can kind of tell what's going on from you know, from your login history, we can't see all of it, thankfully, nor do we wish to, mind you, but we can see enough of it that we can usually get a sense of what's going on. So I can only encourage you to start hitting that button at 11 o'clock, not noon, you know. And that just means, you know, give yourself, it's just like trying to get somewhere on time that's really important. So give yourself extra time just in case, you know, you run out of toner or whatever the cyber grants equivalent is.
Right, and just in that, there may be a lot of people trying to submit at 12. Yours may not make it, so I think it's a good idea to start pushing at 11.
I have to say, generally speaking, the system can handle the submissions. It's, when we look into it, it's, when I've looked into people, like when we do look into stuff when people say, you know, it didn't work, there was a computer problem, and inevitably, like you know, of the 30-odd cyber grants RFPs, you know, maybe once it was cyber grants. Mostly it's the applicant hedging their bets, you know, or not remembering that the thing is due at noon. It's due at noon, not 1, not 2, not 1:45, noon.
So we hope to, no, not hope to, we will be notifying you in April if you have, if you are one of the 10 selected agencies. Right now, we don't have a specific date, but your program will begin on May 1st. If you are awarded, of course, we will be reaching out. There will be notifications going out if you did not receive any information in April, but we do plan on letting everyone receive notification as a yay or a nay. Again, you know, this is highly competitive. If we have 110, 120 applications, we are only going to award 10. So now is our Q&A time we've set aside. If for some reason you know someone who wanted to make it, couldn't make it, you're sitting in for them, we are recording this, and we will have it available for you at our DFSS website. That information is also in your RFP. If you've signed up for this, it'll be available, and if you haven't signed up for it, if you just happen to stumble across it, or someone, again, who you may have shared the information with, they'll be able to go online and get the information as well. So now we'll open up and take any questions that you may have. If you type them on the screen, we will respond back. Julie, you want to do the first one?
Do you have a work program for children that are 13 years old but going to high school in the fall? Please provide the resources.
But going to high school in the fall.
Oh, like they're just young?
Okay, so if you have children that are 13 years old, so our age group is 11 to 13. So if you have some youth, and let me know if this is, if I'm answering your question right, Zakia.
Blow those questions up.
Or is there anything else below that?
Right, there's lots.
No, please, no resources. That's one particular question.
Can we make the questions big on
please
the screen?
Provide the resources. I think there may be something else to that question.
Yeah, there you go.
Is there something else more to her question? Please provide resources. Right, so it says just please provide the resources. So not exactly sure what you mean, but let me say this. So one of the age groups is 11 to 13. So if you have, if you selected the 11 to 13 age group, and every age group, your RFP should be written for that particular age group. So whatever innovative project you selected, it should be age appropriate, right? So if you have a group of youth and they're 13 and now they're going on the they're in that 14 to 15-year-old age group, then your RFP wouldn't serve them, right? So you need to select what age group based on your youth population. If you have more 13-year-olds, 11 to 13-year-olds in your program, then you should write your RFP specifically for them. And the same thing goes for the other two age groups, or other three age groups, because it's 11 to 13, 14 to 15, and 16 to 24, so the other three age groups. Let me know if that answers your question, Zakia.
What if we serve youth in more than one age group?
All right, and there's there's a lot of those kinds of questions about, do you have to only pick one age group? Do we have to stick to one age range, or can we serve multiple of the 3 age ranges? Can we serve, this is asked multiple times by multiple people.
So the point of us creating age groups is so that your projects are going to be age appropriate. The same type, just say you were doing a robotics program, right? Or just say that you're doing a dance program. So your curriculum needs to meet that particular age group, because your 16 to 24-year-olds are going to have more stamina, whether it's technology or whether it's art. They're going to have more stamina opposed to your 11 to 13-year-old. So when you write it, you need to be, this project is for you to identify an age group that you want to bring this innovative project to, that your project will be able to focus on and entrench these youth with a STEM and or art activity. So think about it like that. I've got a group of 16 to 24-year-olds that I know this project that I want to do, it's geared towards them. In that 16 to 24-year-old, perhaps I'm going to do some sort of serious college career, component with them, so it really get them ready. We'll bring in people from different types of science or artistic backgrounds that'll be able to gear them in a certain direction as it relates to either, to STEAM or STEM and arts. So think about it along those lines. Of course, you could always serve all 3 age groups, so we're asking for a highly innovative programming for one of these 3 age groups.
Will we receive the slides after the webinar?
You will receive a recording of this presentation.
Can you please describe what falls under administrative cap?
So your administrative cap can be what you're going to put in your salaries, what you put in your you consider your non-personnel.
Where can we see the 10 organizations and programs that are currently serving based on the award from 2 years ago?
That's a good question, Danielle. Unfortunately, we don't have on our website all of the agencies that are currently being funded. But I'm going to throw a few out there for you so you can get an idea of the type of programming that we selected last year or 2 years ago. So Marwin was one of the agencies that we selected. Marwin has a wide variety of art services. They provide youth with sculpturing, ceramics, painting, all types of drawing, and fashion design. So youth have an opportunity to experience all of those types of art mediums, or they can focus on just one. Another program that we funded was Leave No Vet Behind. Leave No Vet Behind does a solar installation program, and this year they're doing solar installation and I believe it's water irrigation. We funded Alternative Schools Network, and they are doing a robotics program. We have a program that's doing gaming, studio music design. So we have a variety of programs that fall under the STEM and art component.
The next question is, can you be more specific when you talk about smaller orgs? Are you interested in applications from larger organizations?
So we are open for the most innovative project that you could possibly submit. You know, a lot of times the little people don't submit because they don't believe that they will be funded. When I say little people, I'm looking at a budget, you know, $500,000 or possibly less, as long as you are, you know, fiscally sound. Perhaps you would have to go under another, a fiscal agent. You run the program, but you have a fiscal agent. You know, we're not opposed to that type of programming if you're a smaller organization. So we're open, small or large, but when we talk about small, we just want to make sure that everyone knows that they have an opportunity to submit and possibly be awarded.
Next question is from Nancy Goldenberg. Is it possible to serve more than one age group with this grant? I think we answered that one already. Right?
Yeah, we did.
Next question is from Alicia Flores, and Alicia called in, so maybe she can go ahead and ask your question directly to Erlene on the phone. Hello, Alicia?
Hello, how are you?
Hi, thank you for calling in.
Yeah, my question was in regard to serving the 33 youth on multiple sites. In our organization, we serve multiple schools within some of those high-risk areas and communities. So I wanted to see if that was something we could do.
That's a good question. The thing is that we use a city span for our database collection. And while you can say, I'm going to serve, you know, 11 here and 10 here and whatever that is to make up my, you know, that's 23 and 10 someplace else to, you know, to make up my 33, the program is not as intense. And then I don't know how you would actually look at spreading your resources in terms of staff. So it'd probably be best to look at one site to actually bring your program to. I think it would be a little bit more quality and it would definitely be more intense. So if you decide, however, to say, well, this year I'm going to be at this particular school and I'm going to run this program here, and maybe next year I'm going to, you know, maybe work with 33 other youth, that may work a little better for you because then youth will get the dosage that's really needed to run a really quality program.
Thank you, Alicia. Next question is from Vanessa Sanchez. Can the 33 youth be split up into different programs? An example would be 15 from May to August and 18 new youth from January to December, or do all have 33 have to be in a program for the full contract schedule?
So another good question, Vanessa. We do expect that you serve 33 youth for the year. And so what you're actually talking about is, to me, running some sort of cohort. And so that's something that if you're selected based on how you rate your program, we would discuss in your work scope.
Mitchell Hendrickson. What dosage youth of engagement will be expected during this project? Example, if we are requesting $50,000 for the full grant term, how often will we be expected to provide services? Weekly, 3 times a week?
So, hey, Mitch, what I really love about Project Innovation is that we actually allow you to, in a sense, tell us what you want to do. We expect the programming has to be school year-round, summer and school breaks, and and you do summer and weekends. So it's like a good dosage, right? So youth are really getting great experiences for some periods of time. However, once you are awarded in your work scope, because every work scope is somewhat individual, right? So you get the opportunity to sit down with us, and then we discuss what we're looking for, and really what your capacity is. More so, what your capacity is, because you already know we want school year and we want year-round. Year-round is you're running from January to December, because that's our programming year. School year for us is going to be from September to December, and then January to June. And if you're doing summer, we still need you to create some sort of component, whether it's weekends or whatever, that we know youth will get the. Then the other part of that is that we, like for OST, we say you need to work give us at least 12 hours minimum per week. We haven't specifically said that with Project Innovation. And the other thing is that we are going to award you with $50,000. I seriously doubt if we will give somebody 25 and somebody another 25. The way it's laid out is that each agency who is awarded will receive $50,000. If your phone is not on mute, please do so. Sorry.
Ashley Owens asked, it says special consideration would be given for identified communities. Where can we find the list of communities?
So I believe it's on page 2 or 3 of the RFP itself.
If the program begins in May, will June's absence be taken into consideration considering end of school dates? This is from Courtney Homa.
Absolutely. So if you are doing a school year program and it starts May 1, really you'll be doing recruiting, having conversations with the location where you are. There will be a break for you, and then you'll be full year come September to December.
Next question is from Peter. Youth who are already participating in DFSS funded grants, can they also participate in this one?
So I think we need to flush this out a little more. I say that because for us, that would be double dipping. So if you have an OST program and you're doing, say, academics, and then you want to take the same group of youth and put them in Project Innovation, we're not,
we would prefer
that you have
that each youth is counted once in one program, not that you're investing 2 program slots on one youth, but that if you have an OST program and you want to switch kids out of that OST program
And enroll into the
enroll
project
into
innovation program.
and that opens up space in your OST program for more kids which you then enroll. That's fine. Like it's like a career ladder kind of, but not like, oh, this kid, I want to put this kid in OST and project innovation.
Yeah, we really want you to have an identified group of youth that are intentionally enrolled in PI and they're receiving those services.
Next question is from Carrie Wall, and she has multiple questions. Let's see if we can unmute her.
So Carrie, do you want to just tell us what your questions are? Carrie, since you have multiple questions, will you want to just tell us what your questions are? We've muted you. Okay, so we'll just answer her questions.
We offered leveled programming for multiple age groups and skills offer.
Skill levels. We offer leveled programming for multiple age groups and skill levels.
Okay, so in a sense, right, and we got that. So when you are looking at working with your youth for this particular RFP, identify what age group that you want to work with and create your RFP around that skill level for that particular group.
And then Carrie's other question was, part of our program's innovation is that we offer year-round leveled programming for varied age groups and skill levels. Because of that, would we be allowed to serve more than one age group?
So if you want to create a program for your 11 to 13-year-olds and then create a program for your 14 to 15-year-olds, submit it. Let's see what it looks like. And as long as each one of those age groups are age-specific, and perhaps you're going to do, perhaps you would do, just say you were doing robotics, and so your program would be specific for 11 to 13-year-olds, and this is what they'd be actually working on, and then you had another, couple levels above for your same robotics program, and you want to write about that, that's fine, no problem.
I don't know if you answered this. Is there a minimum amount of hours a week for the program?
Yeah, we did answer that, right. We haven't put a minimum amount on it right now. What we're actually, it's project innovation. We want you to innovate. We want you to tell us what you want to do and how many hours you want to spend and what your program actually involves. Remember, we want you to make sure that it's got good dosage. We want to make sure that youth have a lot of exposure to whatever your project is. So once you write that out, we review it. We make our selection criteria based on the 4 categories that we discussed earlier in the RFP, and then once you are awarded, then we talk about what your capacity is.
As a STEM grant, are you looking for program applicants who use all elements together in a curriculum or class? Or can it be specialized programming in one of those areas?
It could be specialized programs in one of those areas. So it could be, something you could specifically do for science, something you specifically do for technology. Just say you are going to do some sort of Microsoft certification program. That's all you're going to do. That's great. And you write about that and you talk about it and how it's going to benefit the youth or young adults. Yes, it's best for you to be, and science and math, of course, goes together. Technology, they all blend, but you may have, or your arts, right? But you may have your own little niche. That's what the innovative programming is about. You may have your own little niche, and that's what you're going to focus your group of youth on. Your 33 youth, that's what they're going to focus on.
If your organization works with multiple communities, can we split the grant among those multiple communities?
So I think we talked about that. I think, I mean, of course you can, but I think that it'd be easier for you to identify what community, out of those communities you serve, you believe that you have not only the highest need, but you can actually, you have the numbers. You know, you'll have your 33 youth, and you know that, you know, those youth will be in attendance on the days of programming. And then maybe you, the next year you go to another community area. But, you know, there's nothing that says you can't, you know, go from one community to another during the same program year.
After a first successful implementation, will there be funding for a second implementation after December 31st, 2018?
So our goal, so this year, if you're currently funded for Project Innovation, you cannot apply to this, this RFP. And those that are funded now are under a 2-year contract award. We are looking next year to release an RFP with the 20 agencies, the 10 we select now, the 10 we currently have, and hopefully we will get permission to award a 2-year contract, which means that provided the city has funding dollars, you would receive the award for a second year. So in 2018, you will apply for funding. That funding would be for 19 and 20. But again, it's all contingent on whether or not the city has the funding for year 2.
Next question is from Alessandra Stevens. She has multiple questions, and I'm going to try to see if I can unmute Alessandra. It looks like she may have muted herself. We'll go ahead and mute her questions then. Just confirming, even if we are currently funded for OST, we are allowed to apply for this funding opportunity?
Absolutely, absolutely. You can definitely apply for this funding opportunity. The only applicants that are not eligible are agencies that are currently funded for Project Innovation.
Our other question was the list of priority communities in the RFP seem to be different than those listed in the drop-down menu in the application on cyber grants. Can you clarify which list is correct, or how can we list our priority community area if it is one of those not available from the drop-down menu?
The list in the RFP is the one that you should go by. I would like it if you could send me Alexandra, if you wouldn't mind sending me an email about this so that I can look into it and have it corrected if there's a problem.
And Julia's email is after our Q&A in this slide.
It's also in the RFP.
Right, right. It's also in the RFP. And interesting, this is the first time we heard that, so thanks. We appreciate it.
This question is from Marche Miller. Are applicants encouraged to partner or collab with other organizations to increase capacity and youth serve, or are you restricted to a single organization?
So you can always collaborate with an organization, but one organization would have to be the fiscal agent. We're only going to fund one agency. And, you know, like anything else, you can just say you're an agency and you're going to collab with, you know, agency ABC. Then you would show your services at those particular agencies. You would show how the collaboration will actually work with the RFP, but we'll only fund one agency, and that agency will be the fiscal agent.
Question from Kevin. $50,000 for 12 months or for 18 months? So
it's $50,000 from May to December, and then you will get a contract amendment, and then you will be funded from January to December of 2018.
Aaron asked, are there restrictions on purchases for supplies and materials?
Yes, there are. And so as you write your budget, we don't pay for equipment. Any equipment purchases are, they belong to the city. And generally they have to be, I think there's a numerical amount, but I wouldn't suggest that you submit for equipment. We don't fund food, we fund snacks. So it's an issue, you know, so that doesn't mean that you can't offer some sort of refreshments for your youth, but you can't list that under food. And so it depends on what your, I mean, we have people who if they're using, say, a laptop because the laptop is needed for the programming, you know, we would approve something like that. We ask that you buy something of quality, not go out and buy a laptop for, you know, we've seen some requests for like $150, $200 for a laptop. We're wondering what kind of laptop is that and how long is that going to serve a purpose. So just be, you know, intentional about what you select for the program you're writing and make sure it matches up and it makes sense. And trust me, anything that you put in there, if you're awarded, we're going to have dialogue about it anyway, and this lets you know that no, we couldn't okay this particular purchase.
The last question is from Alicia. I'll go ahead and unmute her again so she can ask the question directly. Hi, Alicia.
Hi, Alicia.
Sorry, one more question. I just wanted to clarify. I think I missed part of this before. Was with a May 1st start date, you said that we do not need to do summer programming start in September because the concern with, you know, early CPS closure and lack of funds for summer. Just wanted to check on that.
So generally, the few weeks following the start date, what we do is we have conversations with our agencies. We go through their work plan, make sure everything's in place. We go through their budget, make sure everything's in place. And then, you know, once you're awarded, you know that you can begin to have dialogue with the entity where you're going to be. You may have had dialogue already to say, you're going to run a program in this particular area. You're already in that area. You have a good relationship with that, just say if it's not at your agency and you plan on going to another location in that community area and you decide, you know, you talk to them and you said, listen, you know, I've got this opportunity for this RFP, and if I get this, you know, I'm going to be reaching back to you, you know, for programming. And so maybe we can start having a conversation about identifying, you know, some use and talk about the programming. So, you know, so that happens, say, like now, right? And so now it's April, and you've got the award notification that your agency has been selected. So from that point, you know, it is you having conversations, us having conversations about, like I said, your work plan as well as your budget. And so now you're actually recruiting those youth and preparing them and just maybe giving them a small orientation, you know, of what that's going to look like. You're planning, you're purchasing your materials. That's your startup, you know, and you can literally submit, you know, and you bring your staff, so you can literally submit a voucher for May because you've done your due diligence and your program is, you know, it's in a startup mode. And so if your school year, yes. So if you're working in a charter school and that school, you know, operates in August, then the expectation is you will start in August. If not, you'll start in September, and then you'll run programming, you know, September to December and all the way from January again until school ends in June.
I wanted to skip down to a related question by Danielle Contreras. If you answered on a question on restrictions for the use of funds, can a more detailed list be provided of the financial restrictions expenses as we plan our budget? When you go into the cyber grants application, there is a budget narrative question where I believe gives some pretty good guidelines about what's an allowable cost and what's not allowable cost. But did you have anything more specific in mind, Danielle? Maybe we can look to unmute you.
And we can go into detail, and you can
have a specific thing that you wanted to know about.
Yeah, we hear you.
Hi, this is Daniel. Thanks for that. You know, just a general, as we're going through the budget, you know, because I know there were some questions around administrative cap and what can be used for hardware or for supplies or material. So it's just to get some additional guidance, because there's going to be additional follow-up questions. Because I haven't looked at the Cyber Grants app yet. So what I'll do, if there's a good budget narrative there, I'll look through that first, and if I have additional questions after that, I'll reach out.
Yeah, just
sounds good.
Just email us.
Yeah. Shoot me your question, and Of course, we work really well with our finance department, so we will be able to shoot that back.
Right, and then Carrie Wall had a kind of a similar related budget question. The submitted budget should reflect 20 months?
No, so let me explain what we're looking for. So when we award you, your award for this year would be from May 1st to December 31st, 2017. So your budget should cover that time frame. And so last time we funded Project Innovation, I believe you started somewhere around the same time. The positive in that is you kind of like get to put your ducks in a row. You kind of like get to actually voucher for some items that next year you won't, but you've got already in terms of maybe some of the supplies and the equipment and things like that that you need, right? And I don't mean like equipment, but some of the supplies that you need. Because we expect that when you submit your final voucher in December, well actually it's January for December, you have spent your total $50,000. But your budget is only going to be from May 1 to December 31. And then next year, your budget will be for the full year of January 1 to December 31, 2018.
Great, and we got another question from Mitchell. Mitchell, I'm going to try to, it's kind of a long question, so I'm going to try to unmute you. If it's a little feedbacky, then we'll go ahead and read your question, okay? Hi,
hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So there are a couple of potential locations that we're thinking about applying for with this grant, and one of them straddles the line between South Shore and South Chicago. It's a Chicago public school and it serves students from both neighborhoods. Would this be okay?
So there's actually no restriction on any community service area that you want to submit the RFP for. We have just identified areas where we know our current agencies are not serving, or we don't have as many programs in those particular communities. So if you're straddling on the fence and you have youth that come from both ends, or I mean both communities, clearly yes, you can submit an RFP and tell us that you're serving both communities, and maybe you focus more in the South Chicago area than the South Shore area, or if it's an even split, whatever the case may be.
That's the last question.
Okay, so that's the last question. Keep in mind that this will be recorded, so you have the option of going back and listening. And I think someone had asked earlier about whether or not the PowerPoint will be available. So Victor has all of your information as to who actually signed in, and I will send you this PowerPoint this afternoon, so you'll have it. And so if you have any questions regarding the program or the budget, please reach out to me. There's my email, and my email is actually in the RFP. If you have any administrative questions, any aspects of that, the system itself, cyber grants, how it's working, what's not working, please reach out to Julia. Her email is listed. Julia, is that the right one, or did we change it?
It's J. Talbot at City of Chicago will do it.
Okay.
You can also do julia.talbot@cityofchicago.org as well.
So either one will work, and then Julia's information is in the RFP as well. Believe me, we are here for you. We do expect to hear from some of you if you have any questions during this process, and we will actually answer your questions until about, well, for me, 4:30, and for Julia at 5 on March 30th. But Your proposal is due on the 12th. So we will be answering your questions up until 11:45 if you have any on March 30th. Victor has let us know that we have a couple more questions, so we're going to answer those questions real quick.
They're kind of the same question as far as project period.
So the probably says that the grant is due the 31st. Just want to confirm the end of the grant period. Yes. So when we fund you, we will be funding you for May 1, 2017 until December 31, 2018. You will submit a work plan and a budget for this year from May 1, 2017 to December 31, 2017. Then sometime in November, December-ish, we will reach out to you and say, here is the work plan, here's another budget. We need you now to submit another work plan and another budget. All of our agencies are assigned a youth service coordinator, a YSC. The YSC is assigned to your agency. That YSC will reach out to you, will work with you during that time period to get your budget as well as your work plan in. And you will also, so you will, your admin office, your executive office will receive, contract documents for you to complete once more so we can execute another contract for you for the year of 2018. So I think we've covered pretty much all of your questions, and hopefully we have given you the clarity that you need to now go back to your shop and send us some highly innovative and competitive RFPs. We really want to thank you this morning for your time. We appreciate the effort that you're going to put into your submission. Happy writing. Best of luck to all of you. Thank you.